Young people under the age of 16 will not be able to have accounts on YouTube.
There is a government out there that wants to ban social media for anyone under the age of 16. This means platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, and even Reddit are all going to be on this ban list. Yes, I am talking about Australia's Online Safety Amendment Act. Unless all of these social media companies implement strict age verification to keep out under 16s, their services will be blocked for the entire country starting on the 10th of December 2025. And this does include YouTube, the website where your grandma watches cat videos. It's classified as a social media website, so they are also going to be age gated. The government's justification about all of this is that it's going to help children feel safer online. The Communications Minister, Anika Wells for Australia, stated online platforms use technology to target children with chilling control. We are merely asking that they use that same technology to keep children safe online. The new law in Australia will make it illegal for social media websites to allow under 16s to hold accounts, and it puts the onus on the tech companies to take reasonable steps to enforce this law. If they fail, then they will face fines of up to $32 million. This new law was passed through the Australian Parliament under the guise of protecting children. Meta has conducted a preemptive purge of teenager accounts. They wasted no time preparing to comply. On the 19th of November, Meta began notifying Australian users under 16 that their Facebook, Instagram, and Threads accounts will be deactivated by the 10th of December. Affected teens are getting 14 days of notice via in-app pop-ups, emails, and SMS before their accounts go dark. Starting on the 4th of December, new registrations for under 16s will be totally banned, and existing underage accounts will be removed from the platform by the 10th of December.
Importantly, following advice from the E-Safety Commissioner, young people under the age of 16 will not be able to have accounts on YouTube.
We are implementing these rules and this law on behalf of parents who want and deserve better protections for their kids online. We want kids to know who they are before platforms assume who they are, which is why I want to be clear about YouTube. The evidence cannot be ignored that 4 out of 10 Australian kids report that their most recent harm was on YouTube.
So Australia originally planned to exclude YouTube from the ban list. This was due to the educational usage of YouTube within schools in Australia. But in July of 2025, their research had shown that 37% of minors were exposed to harmful content on YouTube. This was pretty much the worst rate out of any of the social media platforms that they are banning. The internet regulator had urged the government to add YouTube onto the ban list too. So Google did fight back, stating that YouTube is not a social network, it's a video sharing platform. So the end result is that Australian teens will not be allowed to watch YouTube without the supervision of an adult or a teacher. And under this new law, they are not allowed to have YouTube accounts under the age of 16. This means no uploading videos, no commenting, no personalized home feeds or subscriptions. And this is utterly devastating for the new generation of content creators. Have a look at this recent article. We're about to see a whole lot of new VPN users as Reddit and YouTube land on Australia's ban list. YouTube and Reddit are among the social media sites that may become inaccessible to individuals who don't have VPNs in Australia. This is real and it's happening now. In a couple of weeks, Reddit and YouTube will be among the many social media sites at risk of getting banned in Australia, leaving them accessible only to those who use a VPN. This all comes from a new law amendment designed to protect children aged 16 and under from unsafe content. So yeah, it's all about Australia's Online Safety Amendment Act 2024. There have been some changes to the legislation that was originally introduced in 2021. Its entire aim is to prevent online bullying, and it comes into effect on the 10th of December 2025. Now you may think it sounds very similar to the UK's Online Safety Act, but there is a major difference with what's going on in Australia because they have put the onus on the social media companies. They need to put measures in place to make sure that children cannot access their services. While you may think that you're older than 16, so you don't need to worry about any of this, but you couldn't be more wrong. If these social media sites can't find a way to properly implement a safe age verification system, then they potentially risk being blocked for Australia users, at least temporarily. So here's a total list of the sites that are going to be affected by Australia's new law. So Reddit, Kick, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, X, and YouTube. Apparently, Discord and WhatsApp have been spared for now, but there's no guarantee that they won't be added onto this list in the near future. Anika Wells, the communications minister, has stated that they have met with several social media platforms. In the past few months, they've been aware that there is no excuse for them not to implement measures to prevent children from accessing their platforms. She claims that online platforms use technology to target children with chilling control. So she's saying that they're merely asking them to use that very same technology to keep children safe online. The president of the European Commission has praised Australia's new law, stating it makes them wonder if they are going to see similar laws being passed in Europe. Much like the UK's Online Safety Act, it's yet to be proven if measures like this are even going to affect children's experiences online. But one thing is for certain, it's going to affect the rest of us, because every single individual is now required to prove their age before they can go onto social media platforms. For now, the best way to combat all of this is to make sure that you've got a properly working VPN, which can bypass these totalitarian laws. The result of this Australian law is that every single individual who accesses the internet is going to be identifiable. We're going to have a totally different internet, which is more invasive than ever before, with no user retaining any of their privacy. One thing is for certain, on the 10th of December, there's going to be chaos in Australia as millions of teenagers wake up with their social media accounts no longer working. Young content creators are going to lose their audiences forever, and the platforms themselves are scrambling to implement measures to adhere to these laws. Elon Musk's X has loudly opposed the law on principle, but likewise hasn't declared if it will comply or defy the rules. If platforms refuse to implement age verification, the government might actually order ISPs to block those services entirely in Australia. Strip away all of the labeling about protecting children, as this is more of a power move to reassert government control on online spaces. For years, the internet has been this free space where anyone can say whatever they want about anyone, and they can do this all under the cover of anonymity, thanks to their privacy being secured. Under the banner of child safety, they will do away with this privacy so that they know exactly who you are, what you are saying, and if you are saying anything that you shouldn't be, which criticizes the government and so on. This article on the Electronic Frontier Foundation states Australia banning kids from social media does more harm than good. They state that age verification systems are surveillance systems that threaten everyone's privacy and anonymity, but Australia's government recently decided to ignore these dangers, passing a vague, sweeping piece of age verification legislation after giving only a day for comments. The Online Safety Amendment Act 2024 bans children under the age of 16 from using social media, and it will force platforms to take undefined, reasonable steps to verify users' age and prevent young people from using them, or face over $30 million in fines. The government's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese claims that the legislation is needed to protect young people in the country from the supposed harmful effects of social media, despite no study showing such an impact. This legislation will be a net loss for young people and adults who rely on the internet to find community and themselves. They also state that this gives government officials dangerous power to target services that they just don't like, at a cost to both minor and adult internet users. Think about it, right now they're targeting platforms like TikTok and YouTube due to child safety, but tomorrow they could be targeting any other social media platform which does not comply with whatever the government narrative is. By normalizing the idea that you are required to have an ID to speak online is incredibly dangerous. Australia's new law is pushing the internet towards an environment where it's closed, gated, and heavily monitored. This is a far cry from the free internet that we have grown to know and love. But this is exactly the problem. They do not want you to have anonymity on the internet. They want to get rid of the freedom on the internet, and they'll do this by any means necessary, even if it means scapegoating children as the cause, when in actuality they just want control over this wild west that we have here on the internet. One thing's for certain, whatever's going on in Australia is incredibly draconian, but if you do live in Australia, what you can do is get a VPN. The best way to fight back is to petition against these legislations. We need to fight against the Online Safety Act, Digital ID, and Australia's Online Safety Amendment Act 2024. We have reached the point of the video where I do want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What are your thoughts about Australia's social media ban that's being implemented on the 10th of December? If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I look forward to seeing you you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.